Big 12 Football Media Days. We head over to Fort Worth and talk TCU football. With Ari Timken, I'm James Westling. We're joined now by head football coach Sonny Dykes here at Big 12 Football Media Days. Coach, are people sleeping on Josh Hoover as a quarterback? Like, we see his numbers, we see what he's done last season and even the year before. You know, why do you think he doesn't get the attention that maybe some of the other quarterbacks in this league get?
You know, it's a good question. I think so. I don't think you've seen the best version of Josh, so far, and I think that's probably why. I think you started to see it at the end of last year. We finished pretty strong, winning 6 of our last 7 last year, and you started to see Josh get more settled into his role and what he has to do to help us win football games. But he's a different guy right now than he has been. I mean, he's just a lot more confident in himself. He's a lot more confident in what we're doing offensively. I think he has more confidence in our team. I think he realizes we're not going to have to go out and score 50 points every game to have a chance to win. And so I think his mindset is a lot different than it has been, and I think you'll see the best version of him, and then I'm confident that people will take notice. Look, I've been lucky to be around some good ones in my life. A couple of the first pick in the NFL draft, Super Bowl MVP, some pretty good quarterbacks, and he's as talented as any of them throwing the football. I mean, he can really, really, really throw the football at a high level, and like anything else, he's got to, with that, it's like being a superhero. With that kind of talent comes responsibility.
Yeah.
And so part of that is just understanding, okay, look, could I force this ball in there? Yeah, I could, but do I really need to? And I think those are the kind of decisions that you saw him start to make at the end of the year last year that we didn't make early. We've tried to force some stuff early, and it hurt us a little bit early in the year. And I'm not just talking about Josh, I'm talking about our team in general. But you're going to see a great version of him now, and again, a guy that has a lot of confidence, and I think will go out and perform at a really high level.
So how did you draw the short end of the stick in terms of the schedule? I mean, it's always hard to predict the Big 12 scheduling, but my God, of the teams that are going to be good, you've got all of them.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? You know what I mean?
True.
Who knows who's going to be good and who's not? And I mean, we had, if you looked last year, we had to go to Utah, and we had Oklahoma State, and everybody preseason,
right,
said, hey, look, those are going to be the two teams to
good
beat,
point.
and they turned out not to be. And Arizona State was supposed to be a layup, and they ended up winning the league. So it's man, the Big 12, who knows? I know this, you're going to play a bunch of one-score games. You know what I mean? That's just the way it's going to be in this league every week. And so you better be good at details. You better be good at doing things, at a high level and consistency, and you better be good at the 2-minute drill, and you better be good at a lot of little things. You better be good on special teams, because those things are going to make a difference in all of these really, really tight football games that you're going to play week in and week out in the Big 12.
Man, TCU's turned in to like wide receiver you. You were just churning out wideouts to the NFL. Eric McAllister, preseason All Big 12. I think it says a lot about just how talented he is that he was your number 2 guy last year.
Yeah.
And then Pro Football Focus had the transfer from Idaho as your top graded receiver for this year.
Yeah.
So you've got to feel good about that position again.
We do. Yeah, we do. I mean, it's, we'll see how, Jordan Dwyer transition, but he's a unique guy. He's just a really, really good football player. And then we've got, Joseph Manjack came over from Houston, and I love the way he plays the game, and he reminds me a lot of Jack Besh. Similar skill set, similar competitive nature. And so we like the guys. Will those pieces fit seamlessly? You hope they do. But yeah, I mean, those guys, we're going to have a chance, I think, to have another good group. We have a couple of really talented young guys as well that nobody knows who they are that have a chance to be really special. A couple of young guys that can really run and can make some plays. So, we'll see how all that comes together, but I like what we have in the room, and hopefully those guys will develop.
Ed Small, one of those guys you're referring to?
Yeah, Ed's a guy that nobody knows too much about. Is a high school graduated early. He's a kid from Austin, incredibly productive. I love the slot position on our team. I think we got some guys at that inside receiver position between Jordan Baylor and Major Applewhite and Ed Small that I think can do some pretty cool things. And so anyway, I think it's a good group.
Defensively, you guys were a lot better last year than the year before.
Yeah.
What's the next step? What do you need to clean up on that side of the ball?
Oh, I think our run defense, I think, was the biggest thing last year. It hurt us in some critical situations. We got in the Baylor game last year and gave up a couple of drives, at the end of the game where they just lined up and ran over us. And so, we tried to address those issues from a recruiting standpoint. But we've got to what allows you to be really good defensively is when you're really good at the corner spot. When you can lock down those guys outside, then now you can get creative in what you're going to do with the other 9 players. And we haven't been a team, really, even going back to 22. We had 2 NFL corners on the team in 22. We played for a national championship, but we had 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
If one of those guys got hurt, I was going to play corner. And I don't backpedal very well. And so, now we've got 6 or 7 guys at the corner position that we think we can win with. And so that's going to allow us to do some more things defensively and some things that we haven't been able to do to help us in the run game. And obviously we've got to be a little bit more physical in our mentality. And I think we made some strides in that in the spring. But when you can cover outside, then you can get pretty creative on what you're going to do. And it kind of starts there defensively, and I like our corner room. I think we got talent, and I think we have depth, and I'm excited about that group.
It's kind of amazing what your passing game was able to do last year, considering the struggles of the defense and the running game. You collectively just 885 total yards from running backs last year. Yeah, obviously offensive football as well as anybody. I mean, how?
Yeah, that was when if you say what were you surprised by last year? That was it. I mean, I was. I think we came out of fall camp feeling like we were really going to be able to run the ball, and we just didn't for whatever reason. And so clearly that's been a focus of ours. I love our running back room. We were not very big in that room, and we went out and found a transfer that we really, really love. He gives us some size and some power and some grit and some downhill running and can finish runs, and we've had some young backs emerge. And so, same thing. Our running back room is 4 or 5 guys that we think really can play, and are different and can finish. We didn't finish runs well last year, and then we have to block better. I mean, that's where your run game always starts with your offensive line and those guys playing physical and finishing and all the stuff, and then you've got to be committed to doing it. And so. Anyway, there's a lot of things that we can do better, and obviously it's something we've been working on and trying to get fixed.
Ari was asking you earlier about your schedule. You open up against North Carolina. All the attention, all the hype surrounding their program in that game, just how beneficial will that matchup be for TCU?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's going to be a lot of talk about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're playing against, arguably the greatest football coach ever. With Bill Belichick and a guy that's been incredibly successful and has won at the very highest level, and obviously is a really, really good coach, and that team's going to be well prepared. We have no idea what we're going to see from those guys. Obviously we think we know. His son was the defensive coordinator last year at Washington, and we're going to see something similar to what he's done and what Bill's done in the past, but we have no idea what we're going to see offensively. Freddie Kitchens is the offensive coordinator. He's kind of been in the NFL for a while, but they have a quarterback we think that's going to be a starter that is really not a pro-style quarterback. So what's that going to look like? You know what I mean? Is that going to look like North Carolina when Cam Newton was the quarterback, or New England when Cam Newton was the quarterback?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And so that's the kind of stuff that we're looking at right now, going, okay, is this what they're going to do? And so, I mean, we're going deep trying to figure out what are we going to see from those guys offensively. And when you're not sure, that creates, some issues. It's hard to get prepared for them, but you have to, you got to be able to adapt and adjust and figure things out pretty quickly.
Freddie coached Baker in Cleveland too, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it'll look like that? Totally. It's a good
who knows?
point.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I think Bill the one thing about Bill, I think Bill does what Bill does, and so you know, I think there's a chance we'll see some of the stuff that Cam did when he was at New England. We'll see though. Who knows?
Well, Tom Brady's not walking through that door.
Yeah, no,
So, you know,
no,
that's a
no,
good thing.
That's definitely a good thing for us.
I think he's out of eligibility.
I would not want to face Tom Brady in Week 1.
Even at 43?
No.
No,
Even
no.
at- Even at 63, I wouldn't want to
Right?
face him.
All right, Coach, let's get to know this TCU football team a bit. If you were putting together a band of TCU football players, who's the one guy? Who's the lead singer? Who's the biggest showman on the team?
Well, it's got to be Bud Clark, you know, because number one, he's done it before with the Bud Clark 5. But, you know, I think, yeah, Bud for sure, just because he's the smooth guy, he's the showman. You know, I mean, Bud could sing bad, and everybody
Wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter, just because everybody would be like, man, that guy's great. You know, look how smooth he is.
That's amazing. Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck this season. We're excited about your team.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
TCU football coach Sonny Dykes here at Big 12 Football Media Days.